Phantom Parade hot takes. So I put out a community post recently to see any hot takes that you guys have about the game, some unpopular opinions. Now if you look at the screen you can see my webcam's on. That's just because my throat's a little messed up and my finger's infected, so I don't want to be editing for too long. It's just so it's a little bit easier on me. But I've got a list of comments here and we're just going to go through them, discuss them, right? And one very notable one is the little issue between whether or not people prefer Zonji or Teenjo, but we'll get into that when it pops up. But for now, let's just go through them case by case. Obviously I'll put gameplay on screen where it correlates, etc. But for now, let's just have a look about. So I put mine as an example. I think Yuta is better than Toji. Obviously I don't mean in regards to damage, I mean possibly, but more so in regards to value because of his healing, his ult, and a combination of all the stuff he can do. And I also think Red Panda is the most underrated red unit because he is a great sub DPS and he is a great tank because his resurrection status, he can heal himself, he can buff himself. Pretty useful. Now let's, oh my god, that's a paragraph. I kind of hate how the game pushes for mono colours. It really stunts creativity and team building. I agree with that significantly. That's not a hot take because when the game released, it kind of felt, well, not even just on release, it feels as if the devs were pushing for more sort of like categories, kind of like Dokkan, instead of straight up monotypings. Like, for example, when you level up in the game, it buffs up teachers or students or disaster curses. It'll buff their categories, and the characters do have categories. It's just rarely used. It's used at like Junpei's auto skill, Kokichi's auto skill. It's never really focused upon a lot, instead of like, you know, have the team be mixed. The game isn't focused on that. It's more so just, you know, monotyping, which seems like a waste because you could do categories. Granted, I feel like it would be difficult because you'd have to kind of just say only this category is strong against the enemy, similar to like Super Battle Road in Dokkan. That could still be more viable. Like, I feel like a team with like Mekamaru, Miwa, Momo, and Mai could be fun, but since they're all like all the good variants, like you have green Kokichi, like green Mekamaru, and then you'd have to have like blue Miwa and blue Momo and red Mai. Obviously you've got one from each colour except for yellow at that point, and that team isn't viable, but it could be fun if it was like a category team. I agree with that. That's not a hot take. Having Maho locked behind Megami is stupid. We need more curses and villains. We need to stop doing new kits for old characters. Okay, this one's kind of broken up into two. So I agree on the fact that we need more villains. I do think it is stupid that we have like, what, 5? If you count on JP, we have all 4 disaster curses now plus Sukuna, and I think that's it. There's no like story or Oboro Rosetsu, I think his name was. I still need to make a video on my main channel, but he isn't a unit, which is kind of stupid, even though he's got like a whole domain. He's got a bunch of like, he has a full moveset obviously, but he isn't a unit. We haven't got like, for example, obviously no one would want them as an SSR, but like as a random SR we could get like Haruta or Awasaka or like Smallpox Deity. Just like these random one-off units that could be viable as like SRs that people don't want, but just to kind of fill out the roster more, instead of 5 Gojos, 5 Yujis, 5 Nobaras, 10 Megumis. We don't need that. It feels like, you know, like Dokkan is now, where every character has 10 million units, when you have a full roster here, right? You don't have to make everyone an SSR, just give us more filler units. Give us, as I say, we have one SR Gakuganji, give us an SR Utahime, give us a Kusakabe, give us, obviously I'm biased towards Kusakabe, but you get what I'm trying to say here. There's like plenty of other units we could have, but we're just not getting them, and it's really annoying. And about Megumi, like Maharaga being locked behind Megami, I'm fine with that. No matter what Maharaga is, when he's put in the game, he's probably going to be busted, so I'm not really bothered how they choose to balance him. And hot take is just in JJK in general, I'm not a huge fan of Maharaga, but that's neither here nor there. Blue Miwa is one of the most fun tanks in the game. Haven't really used her a lot, so I can't speak on that, but I think all the Panda units are the best tanks from what I've used. In regards to fun, I think objectively like green Saki is like one of, if not the strongest tanks from what I've heard, like with the SP system. But that's the other part of it. I do not agree with like buffing. I disagree with we shouldn't buff old kits, because I think like especially with units from release, like pretty much Yellow Junpei was like the first unit after release. I completely agree with buffing his kit. I agree with buffing Yellow Mekamaru's kit, because they're dog water units, right? So buffing them to put life into them, to make them like viable, not necessarily 100% meta, like Green Nanami, he's a strong unit, but he's not like mega meta. He has a chance to stun, he'll do slightly more damage after ult, but he's not like mega meta because he's very RNG based, and Green Yuji is just better than him, and Mekamaru and 2 Hollow Pepper Gojos better than him, but he is still very much a fun unit to have if you don't have more optimal units. So I'm fine with all the units that everyone has getting buffed, because it makes the game feel a bit more free to play friendly, because everyone has Green Anime, everyone has like Blue Yuji at this point, So if they get buffed, good. It means you've got used to them. They're not just collecting dust in your box, which is nice. The game needs to prioritize fun more than just DPS units. I agree. I imagine the next unit we'll get is hopefully a support, like a unique support. Obviously, in JP, Choso just came out and he's apparently one of the best DPSs in the game. I think Giku said he's like equal to or better than Gojo, which is crazy. I mean, so I do agree the game needs more support instead of just like 10 million more DPSs. I'm fine with that. Haruto should have a thing where he has really low crit values and gets resurrected. I don't really care about Haruto. I'll be completely honest, he sucks, so I don't care. He's like a single boss and doesn't have a unit, so who cares? Both Jogo and Mahito kind of met, and Hanami is the best disaster curse. On release, yes. After the SP system, I'd argue against it, because Jogo is like a decent substitute for Sukuna. He's obviously not perfect, and he doesn't do as much damage, but he is significantly buffed by the SP system, and the further you go on in tower, the less and less Hanami is viable for a lot of things. She can be used for some stuff, but like debuff notification shows up all the time, it's just a bit of a nuisance. But not to downplay Hanami's cracked beyond belief. It's just, obviously, I think Mahito obviously fell off the most because his percentage-based ult got nerfed into the ground as soon as it said, like as soon as they pushed mono-type teams exclusively. Mahito's fell off incredibly, which is a shame because he was a kind of a fun unit and he's the only character that really do percentage-based damage, which is a shame, but he is definitely the weakest of the few. And I've had a lot of people say Dagon's like really weak as well, which is unfortunate. But obviously it depends what event you're doing and what teams you have in your box. Sometimes you might get more value out of Jogo, sometimes you might get more value out of Hanami. I think I can go either or. It doesn't really change. As long as it's SP Jogo, who's like really strong, important, especially with his DOT, I'm fine with that. SR Yaga, Yellow Yaga, Blue Momo. I disagree. I've seen a couple comments with these at this point that downplay Blue Momo a lot, that talk about her ult and like they really like look at her ult as if it's supposed to do damage or something. The amount of times that stun and reduction to ultimate cost has saved my bacon is a good few times. I rate Blue Momo highly, and everyone knows Red Yaga is better than Yellow Yaga. I think Yellow Yaga is significantly weaker. I think, Yellow Shoko is better than Yellow Yaga. Is that a hot take? I don't even know. But I don't agree with that. I think Blue Momo obviously isn't better than Yaga, like Red Yaga, but I think Blue Momo is better than Yellow Yaga. Teen Geto should have had a move based on the Kuchisake owner. I agree, because on my main channel I did a full video about the Kuchisake owner on her own, and it's a very interesting yokai. Next one. The fact that the game's villain Rosetsu isn't a unit is the dumbest thing ever. I agree. Make him a Phantom Metal unit. They don't even need to do that. Make him a free-to-play unit. There's one truly free-to-play unit, discounting Phantom Medals. There's only one, and it was JJK0 Blue Maki, which is the dumbest thing ever. She's not a bad unit by any means. For like an SR free-to-play, she's pretty decent. But the fact that she's like the only free-to-play unit and it's on a limited time event that you missed and you can't get any more. Like, they've never done any more units like that. It's like Bleach Brave Souls, where there's only like one free-to-play 5-star, and it's like Beach Toshiro. It's like so stupid. Just make more free-to-play units. Don't make them strong. Just like make it fan service. Give me I don't care if you make a free-to-play Haruto, a free-to-play, Grasshopper Curse that Yuji fights. Like, you've got their models and stuff in the game. Give them a dog water moveset and let me use it. Like, just add more units. I'm sick of pulling 10 million Nanamis, Yagas, Gojos. That's really annoying. You like the map events? I don't. I think they take too long. I wish you could skip through them. Like, if your power level is high enough, just skip through a stage, because it's just, you literally load in, do one AoE, move on to the next one, and you have to do it about 50 times. It's really annoying. I get why they do it, so it's like people with newer teams who've literally just booted up the game, they can't coast through it as easy, but once you've got like a full squad for each typing, it's just kind of really boring, and it's unfortunate. You think Blue Momo is bad? Nah, bro. Her buffs compared to any other meta buffer are mid. Nah. The crit stuff is RNG dependent. Her ultimate and damage are meh. She's not there for damage though. Red Yaga's not there for damage. Just run Red Yaga and a mono blue team. I don't trust his health enough because he's an SR. I think he dies too quickly. And Blue Momo, her auto skill gives her like mega survivability because she gets evasion a bunch. Like, I think is forgotten about a lot as well. I think Blue Momo is pretty strong. I disagree with this, but fair enough. The only good UGs are Zonji and Green G. The rest are middling to bad. Blue might get better with his SP buffs. I've seen his SP buffs. They didn't buff his ult damage, which is a shame because it's really low for an ult. I think it's only still like 900%, which is pretty bad. And I still think Red UG's not terrible. I think people really rate Red UG very highly, which is surprising. I've had a lot of people rate Red UG really strongly, which is fair enough. I agree with that for the most part. That, Zonji and Green G are objectively like the best of the four. But I still think, like, it's like Blue Yuji's down here, then Red Yuji, then green, then yellow. There's like a big gap between blue and red, but red is still below green and yellow. It just sounded like I'm listing off the bloody rainbow. Even with Sukuna, the Camo and Yuji SP buffs, blue is the weakest type by a very clear margin. Even yellow, which I think is second weakest, has more going for it. I love how objectively everyone knows that red and green are just mega cracked because they don't really have any weaknesses. But like blue and yellow just always seem to be missing stuff. There isn't enough good support in yellow because you have like 2 buffers, like strictly buffers, which is Yuki and Shoko, and debuffers you obviously have Degumi and Yaga. They're like the big ones, right? Do I think blue's the weakest? Probably. While Sukuna can carry, it's just, if you're not using any other units, like you can't use Domain Gojo, obviously I'd say blue is probably the weakest. But blue and yellow are they're not bad, but compared to green is super cracked, red is cracked. Maybe that's a video in the future, which category is the strongest, because is red or green stronger and is yellow or blue worse? We don't know what's at the very top and what's at the very bottom, which is pretty funny. But I pretty much agree with that. Both Getos carry their colour, and Geto is the only character with 1 or more unit where one of those units don't suck. Well, none of those units suck. I disagree because all 5 Gojos do what they're supposed to do very, very well. People like to downplay Blue Adult Gojo as well as Hollow Purple Gojo a bit, the adult one. But I still think they're absolutely cracked. I think every Gojo does what it needs to very well. I don't think any Nanami is strictly bad. I think you'd say, yes, Blue Nanami is kind of objectively the worst at this point, but I still think he's relatively decent. He's not terrible, right? You can get some decent numbers out of him if you're really trying. Since he does hybrid damage, that's kind of nice. But I don't think Geto's the only character who has like multiple versions where all his versions are good. I mean, Gojo. I think Yaga's got two variants. Both variants are really strong. Mekamaru. Nah, yellow Mekamaru's kind of whatever. Miwa. Nah, green Miwa sucks. Yeah, I probably agree with that too. Well, not agree, but there's more than Geto, but there's not a lot of characters who have like exclusively good units, right? But anyway, if Uraume and Kenjaku aren't top 5 units, you will be mad. I'm not a fan of either of those characters, to be honest. I'm a Kusakabe stan, so yeah. I don't care if they're top 5, and it'll probably be a while before we get them, I'd assume. Actually, no, because the Choso in the unit artwork, it's like him during his fight with Kenjaku in like the crater left in Shibuya. So Kenjaku could be next, and Uraume could be next. Instead of like Naobito, Kusakabe, like there's plenty of other characters it could be. But if they went straight to Kenjaku, I feel like Kenjaku will be like at the end of the Shibuya stuff. Like once we get like all the Shibuya units done, Uraume and Kenjaku will be like the last 2. Because I doubt we'll get a Yuki there as well. Yuki does show up, but we won't get a unit for Yuki because she doesn't do anything there. We'll probably get like a Instant Spirit Body just started killing Mahito as well. Like there's plenty of Shibuya units to get before we get Kenjaku and Uraume. Anyway, let's go through some of the quicker ones because I've just yapped for about 15 minutes on this dude's stuff exclusively, right? Blue Inumaki is super underrated IMO. He's a crazy sub DPS with an ult that debuffs more than his skill, allowing him to actually combo ult and uses full ult. Okay, I agree with that to an extent. But as I've said before, I am not a whale. I don't even have Blue Inumaki. His banner just dropped again. I'll probably not get him because I've got fuck all money. From what I've seen of Blue Inumaki's skills and stuff like that, he is a strong unit. But I've seen people are very love-hate with the Getos, both of them. Because like this dude says, I do agree with that sentiment that you typically don't want to ult with either Geto unless you know you're going to like finish the round with them. Like there's no reason to, because you just want to keep the consistent debuffs active. But at the same time, those debuffs are ridiculous. Like even Blue Getos, he doesn't just increase Jujutsu damage, he decreases the damage the enemy does. Like he does a bunch. And obviously Green Geto, his debuffs are insane. Like it is easy to say like Blue Inumaki is like a crazy sub DPS and he's debuffing like crazy. But the damage that the Getos are doing isn't insignificant as well. Like when they're debuffed, they are doing damage, which is, I can't speak to this to whether or not he's super underrated, but I will say like don't downplay the Getos, right? They're pretty good. I got a Geto plush back there as well. Like I don't mind Geto, he's pretty cool. This one I think is kind of funny. Todo is fun to play. I agree. Obviously we're referring to like blue and red. Obviously not the yellow SR one because he doesn't even have like boogie woogie or anything. He's just kind of rubbish. I think the units are very fun. Like, I think the units aren't great, but they are fun. Like, the counter-attacks that the red Todo provides, really cool. The Takada's Wisdom, I think it's called, that stacks with blue Todo, very fun. I agree with that, that's fine. Todo is a fun unit to use. He's just not optimal or meta, which is a shame. Maybe with like SP buffs he'll get significantly stronger, but at the moment he's kind of whatever, which is a shame, but he's fun. I mean, we got SP buffs for blue Todo and he's still kind of rubbish. But still, you get what I'm trying to say. Maybe there'll be an update to help them out, because right now they're not doing very well. Maybe we'll get a Shibuya Todo and it'll be cracked beyond belief, but what can you do? Hollow Pebble Gojo is the best one-time nuker. No. Even if you say like, okay, he can do the most damage out of anyone with a single ult. What if there's a resurrection status? Like, if you say like, it's not that I disagree with this, it's just a weird ass statement, dude. This same dude leaves comments on any videos that include any analysis of any Gojos and says, green Gojo is actually the best one. No, brother, he ain't. Green adult Gojo is the worst of them, and I will die on that hill. I got nothing to say. Hot take. Teenjo is the best yellow DPS. So, as I said at the start, I got a bunch of comments, talking about similar sort of thing, talking about how Teenjo is better than Zonji. So, I'll get into it now. So, I think as of this point right now, I think it's not even, but people understand that overall Zonji can do more damage, but more inconsistently, right? However, now that Teenjo has joined the standard pool, and Teenjo is overall just more consistent, and he AoEs with his ult, people will increase his grades and will get more dupes of him, which means overall everyone else's Teenjos will be stronger than their Zonjis, because Zonji is a limited unit, right? He's not going to show up in a pool for a very long time. You have to summon specifically for him, okay? Which is very annoying, because that means like you probably got like, if you've got a Zonji, it's just like a singular Zonji with no dupes in, right? So my Zonji can do really good damage, but my Teenjo, which will eventually get 5 dupes into it because of the standard pool and all the gacha tickets you'll get from events and stuff, my Teenjo will eventually just do more damage than my Zonji, which I think will kind of put people even more on the side that Teenjo is a better DPS because he's in the standard pool now, because everyone will say that their Teenjo will do more than their Zonji, which is fair enough to say, right, because he's a limited unit. But let's say you have equal, like, no dupes, Zonji, Teenjo, which one do I think is better? It depends. Obviously, Zonji has a higher damage ceiling. It's just really inconsistent and really annoying RNG based because of how the black flashes work. However, if you are willing to put the time in, if you just do the same event over and over and over again, you want to hit as many black flashes as possible, you can get him hitting insane numbers. But Teenjo, he can buff himself more than Blue Gojo can buff himself. He is buffing himself with every crit. He can use provocation. He can debuff the enemy. I think overall, I think I say it in my yellow tier list, which I still haven't finished editing, that I do think Teenjo provides more value overall. Provocation from like turn 1 with a 30% chance is really nice. Like hitting your skill 1, getting extra ult charge and chance for provocation is really strong, especially since he has the limitless and stuff, right? His skill 3 also debuffing, great. His skill 2 buffing that much, insane. His ult being an AoE and it crits, which will increase his damage even more because of his auto skills. He is just a more consistent unit. Even if he's doing a little bit less damage than Zonji, he's doing it to the entire enemy team, which could be, for example, right now, Jogo and all of his Ember insects, right? It could be all of them at once, which Zonji can't do. Yes, he has 2 turns, but that's still like 2 enemies at most. Blue just hits all of them, which is really nice. Overall, Teenjo is the better, more value unit of the two, but Zonji's damage potential is way higher. It's just really annoying to get that higher damage because you just have to keep doing the same stage over and over and over again, hoping he hits a black flash, right? Which is really annoying, because you need him to hit black flashes to give him more cast energy so he can hit more black flashes. If you don't have Yuki on your team, or you have to very much build your team around Zonji for him to do well. Whilst Teenjo, you can just put a bunch of stuff in front of him and he'll always do well, right? Like, for example, if you want to use Zonji, you need rare Yuki. You cannot run him without rare Yuki, or you will suffer, because he's not going to be doing anywhere near the damage he needs to at all. Teenjo doesn't need that. Just put Domain Megumi in front of him and 2 buffers, or whoever you want, right? That's fine. He can use whoever, but Zonji needs Yuki, and if he's using Yuki, that also means he's probably, you're missing out on DPS overall because it's not another buffer or debuffer, which is kind of a shame. But yeah, that's my opinion on the whole Teenjo versus Zonji argument. Teenjo is slightly better, and because he's in the standard pool now, everyone else's Teenjos will be getting significantly better because they're all going to be pulling for dupes, and everyone's Zonjis are going to be kind of not forgotten about but put on the back burner a bit, unless there's a stage that really calls for him, like a stage 56 or whatever it is, where you have to hit black flashes or whatever. Except for stages like that, Zonji's going to be on the shelf for most people, because Teenjo is just more consistent, and that's what people want. You don't want to be doing the same stage for an hour, right? This isn't Dokkan. Okay, anyway, let's move on to the next one. But so overall, yes, I agree with that as of this point. I haven't tried Dagon. Maybe he's cracked beyond belief and everyone's just wrong about him. I don't know. But as of this point, I agree with that. Blue Gojo is better than Green Adult Gojo. I'm high-fiving him through the screen. He can't tell, but that's what I'm doing. Kakuganji is meh. Taking that high five back, I disagree. Domain Megumi is absolutely bonkers, but waiting 6 turns to get full potential is a hassle. I agree with that to an extent. Miwa is best girl. That's incorrect, because who is there? Not Mei. She's a nonce. Utahime, I guess. Yorozu, sure. Yorozu exists. Anyway, Domain Megami is absolutely bonkers. I agree. He is, spoiler alert for my tier list, which will eventually get done, I hope. I put him as like providing the most value out of any yellow unit because he's absolutely insane. But I do agree that, you know, you have to hit the skill one 3 times in a row, which is very annoying because what if, you know, Degumi gets invincibility but not everyone else. So you have to kind of roll the dice and whether or not your team will last 3 more turns for you to get the full debuff, or do you just ult after the first debuff? It's very annoying, but I get what you're saying. I agree, Domain Megami is absolutely cracked, but it is really annoying to wait the extra 3 turns, like the turns to build up ult and then the extra 3 turns to get maximum debuff potential. It's very annoying. I agree with that. That's fine. SSR Red Maki is equal to SSR Red Teen Nanami. So, Teen Nanami isn't on global yet, right? So I can only speak to showcases I've seen and the wiki and stuff like that. So I'd say the buffs that Nanami provides are better than the debuffs that Mai provides. However, I would overall put Nanami slightly above Mai, right? Well, not slightly, above Mai, comfortably, right? But I still also think people do downplay Mai quite a bit. Mai is a very good debuffer. The fact that she can stun as well if needed, or stop is the technical, like the bullet type or whatever. She can debuff really, really consistently, her ult debuffs, and she can debuff after everyone else's attack. So if you're using a full team of debuffers instead of, you know, support, she'll just keep knocking out debuffs, which is great. And they're AoE debuffs too, which is really nice. SSR Red Mai, really strong. Great unit. But I think Teen Nanami, his damage is really high and his buffs are really high. There's like the only thing you need from him to give him is like cursed energy. Everything else, he's fine. And sometimes I don't think you even need to give him cursed energy because he doesn't hit black flashes, he just needs to hit crits, and every time he crits he gets cursed energy. Another one for Blue Inumaki is better than Geto. I can't speak on it. I don't have the unit. I can look at the wiki and say maybe, right? I'm not a whale. You can watch all my videos and try to make me a whale for YouTube views. I wouldn't complain about that, but I can't speak on that. Right, I can only speak to what I've seen, and from what I've seen, I think Geto is probably above Inumaki, but this is from someone who doesn't own the unit. I don't have him, I can't. So take my opinion with a pinch of salt, right? Sorry, Speedwagon, I don't know. I think I'll put you in the thumbnail as well, but I don't have an answer for that one. Or at least a good one. Teenjo won, that's fine. The game is 2 pay to win. Buff Camo is the best blue unit in the game. So I was like messaging people before about this and discussing it on whether or not I think the game is 2 pay to win. And I think it is, very much so. I wish it was more free to play because, as I said, the only real free unit in the game, SR Blue Maki from JJK0. Yes, you have the Phantom units, but they're all niche and you're not going to just use Mahito on your team. You're not just going to use, you know, Hanami on whatever team. You have to build teams around them. They're very awkward to use. Whilst Blue, you know, Maki, she's just like a half decent SR Blue DPS, which is really nice. I want more units like that. Just, I can throw on a team. They might not be fantastic, but they're free to play, so I don't have to like summon ages for them or like just not pull them and suffer. Like, I want Miguel. Can I please pull Miguel? I am dying for Miguel. He's not even like a good unit. I just really like Miguel. I agree, the game is 2 pay to win. Yes, they added the pity system, so instead of 25 multis, you only need 15 multis now, which is still a lot, right? This game wants to chew your wallet in half, right? I'm gonna be completely honest, that's why I've stopped spending money on the game, because it chews through your money. I do enjoy it, obviously, to an extent, right? It just eats money. I do agree that it is very much 2 pay to win. I wish it went down the routes of Dragon Ball Legends or Dokkan, where you'll just get a bunch of free-to-play units and they're viable, right? You can have an entire Metal Cooler team that can work on stages. You can have an entire, I think they added a Goku Black Clone team as well. There's a bunch of like free-to-play units you can use, free-to-play LRs from like over the 10 years of this game coming out. There's so many units. This game's been out for like, you know what, a year or so, coming up to a year, over a year, whatever, doesn't matter. I've forgotten the top of my head, but the fact that there's only like one real free-to-play unit, and it takes like, what was the gap between Dagon and the other 3 Phantom Metal units? Like months upon months upon months for a new free-to-play unit to be added? Are you insane? It's ridiculous. Oh, but you know, you get silver tickets to pull. Yeah, but that you're still not guaranteed. Technically speaking, if you got the worst RNG in the world, you could only have the first SSR that you're given. Granted, you get like the guaranteed SSR ticket from the Gadget Parade tickets, but that's still not guaranteed to be a character. It could still be a memory, and that's also annoying as hell, because My Hero Ultra Impact does the same, where it's like, you have a 50% chance for the character or a 50% chance for the memory. I don't want the memory. I want the unit. I want to experiment with the unit. I can't experiment with a memory to the same level that I can with a character. It's really annoying, and it annoys me to no end, because even the game knows this. Because when you go to the pity system, it's 250 for a character and 120 for memory, yet the chances are exactly the same to get either. It's messed up. It's genuinely stupid. I don't get that. It annoys me to all hell. Like, oh, do you want the new Teen Nanami, or do you want his new memory that you've already pulled 5 times in a row because you've just rolled the coin bad 5 times in a row? Like, it's fear and hunger. You've just lost the coin toss and got the memory every single time. It's really annoying. I agree. But blue buff camo, I saw his buffs. He looks filthy now. But, you know, I don't know. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I'd stand on business and say he doesn't have the survivability of Sukuna and he doesn't have the great damage over time, so I'd say Sukuna's probably better. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I don't know. Right? I'm not a JP player. Don't ask me. Ask Giku. Ask Kujira. Ask any of the other, JP players. I'm not a JP player. Yuta fell off a cliff. He's almost useless compared to Red Bara, except for his heals. I disagree with that wholeheartedly. I think Yuta, maybe you're talking about JP, maybe, I've missed something, but I completely disagree with that. I still think Yuta is a viable DPS. I think his damage is still pretty good. Yes, his skill 3 is split between Jujutsu and physical, but that doesn't really mean much. His ult still has a fantastic multiplier. Obviously, you have his heals as well, but we discount that because you said except for his heals. I still think he's fairly strong, personally. I think he's better than Toji. He has damage relative to Toji. I mean, he's obviously doing more damage than Team Nanami. I disagree with this. I just think you're a Yuta hater. I don't really like Yuta in the main series. I've said this before, but his unit is cracked. I will stand on business for that one. I will stand on business. Overall, those were your guys' hot takes, right? If you have any more, let me know below. Maybe I'll go through some again. But as of right now, that's all I've got from you fellas, right? And that dude wrote a whole paragraph. I was just like 15 minutes on you exclusively, dude. Damn. But yeah, thank you all for watching. I'm going to try and do the yellow tier list, I promise. It's just so long, and I've got 3 channels, and it's a struggle. But yeah, with that being said, choose my doodles. Hope you see you in the next one. Peace.